Welcome back, listeners, to another episode on the BizBlend podcast where leadership meets authenticity and heart meets hustle. Or rather, hustle meets heart. I'm your host, Sana, and today we have an extraordinary guest who embodies the essence of courage and self discovery, Natalini. Now, formerly at the helm of the Global Citizen Forum, Natalini walked away from power, prestige, and politics to redefine her leadership journey from a deeply feminine space. After navigating burnout, addiction, and identity shifts, she now guides women to reclaim their own truths, their own true version. So, listeners, I invite you to join us on this journey where we explore how embracing feminine leadership can transform not only our professional paths but our very selves. So, Natalie, welcome to the show, and it is such an honor to have you with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure to be in your company and to be sharing with your incredible audience. And I'm very, very, very excited to be here.
Yeah, definitely, it's an honor. So, yeah, it will be really surprising to our listeners, but Natalini, you have held immense power and influence as CEO of the Global Citizen Forum, even being groomed to become Bulgaria's first female president. What was that pivotal moment that inspired you to embrace feminine leadership instead?
Um, I think that for me, feminine leadership is the natural leadership style that I have. Um, and but I was disconnected from it. I was trying to behave in a I was working and building my career in obviously a very masculine environment. And so I was trying to be like one of the boys, I was trying to behave like them and to act like them and to grow and create and build from using, let's say, the same toolkit as the men I was surrounded by did. But this was not natural to me. And so by the time I was in my early 30s, I was exhausted. I was not well with my health. I was getting a lot of gut issues, actually. As you mentioned rightly, I was struggling with a certain number of addictions, and I simply not able to maintain that unnatural leadership that was serving me. It was taking me, to all the places I wanted to go. But I was going there against my nature and against my natural flow, and this was exhausting for me. So when I started realizing that I'm not well and that I need to take care of myself and I need to understand why am I not well, because I couldn't really quite put my finger on it at the time. um that's when I kind of got off that train and I started deconstructing my entire modus operandi, my entire toolkit, and then I connected to the natural way, the way that is very, very effortless and intuitive to me, which is much more connected to the feminine energy rather than the masculine.
Hmm. That is definitely inspiring and empowering as well. Because our culture often emphasizes on masculine traits, especially in the context of leadership. Competition, power, that assertiveness, that aggression, as the blueprint in there. And personally, I have noticed the transformative power when women lean into their intuition and empathy. It can be at different levels, need not be only at the leadership level. So, Natalini, how does feminine leadership differ, and why do you believe it is crucial, especially in today's world?
Feminine leadership is very different from masculine leadership. The feminine energy in general is much softer. It's it's um it's more, how can I say, if the masculine energy is linear and directional, the feminine energy is circular and it's still in its own way, you know. Femininity magnetizes, it attracts, it brings opportunities to itself. It doesn't go out there chasing and looking and hustling, as you said, and breaking walls and barriers. It just sits and receives and receives and receives, and then the whole world sort of serves it in our feet in a way. Um, Once we are, of course, aligned and attuned to our true nature. But also, like, the feminine leadership is very intuitive. I wouldn't say from a masculine perspective, it would look very chaotic. You know, we operate in our own sort of beautiful chaos where we're open and ready to receive any opportunity that aligns with our mission and our goals in the moment that it aligns with us. We wouldn't necessarily have a structure and a plan and a go-to and like to-do list and all that. We're more sort of leaning into the present moment, and the present moment is pregnant with mm, countless opportunities. And so, by not confining ourselves to, let's say, a rigid plan or a rigid structure, we're able to experience all these opportunities and make the most out of the ones that align with us and the ones that don't, to let them go. You know, um, that's something that I also, frankly, was already sort of doing when I was the CEO of the nonprofit organization. I led in a way that didn't necessarily have a plan. I didn't have a annual or 5 year or whatever 10-year plan. I was mostly sort of staying very open and very receptive to everything that I was surrounded by in terms of people, possibilities, and so on, and would just know intuitively which ones are the right ones and which in which direction does the project want to go. Because that's another thing with leadership is that I find very important is we're here to serve the project. I don't decide where the project wants to go and how it needs to be and what form and shape and position it takes in the world. The project needs to show me, and then I serve the project for it to become what it wants to be. And that's also a very feminine trait, you know, because in a way you take this nurturing, this caring, loving, but also selfless sort of position towards your work where you're there just to guide to nurture it so that it can become what it wants to be. Just like a child becomes the adult that is unique to that to its own sort of energy and personality, you know what I mean? So um yeah, I guess and also like it's very very important when we talk about feminine leadership to talk about, of course, the feminine capacity to be vulnerable, you know, to be honest, to be seen in her pain or insecurity or doubt even, and for that to be her strength, not her weakness, to lead with her sometimes, let's say, you know, vulnerability and weakness, and turn that, alchemize that into her power. And finally, the last thing that I would like to add is the feminine energy has this inherent quality of being very motherly, being very nurturing, of being very caring. It's very compassionate, you know. So once we step into that energy and we lead from that place, we really can't take decisions that are harmful or hurtful or don't take into consideration every single actor that is part of every single stakeholder that is part of that implementation of that decision. So that, of course, would naturally, very naturally lead to more sustainable, more caring, more kind sort of decisions for everything and everyone around us.
Hmm, I agree. I absolutely agree with you. But Natalini, people would say that sometimes, um, especially when you are leading a team, or you are leading a company, or you are sitting a at a very influential position, that each and every decision of yours, it's going to make a huge impact. You need not only look from the perspective of vulnerability or intuition or caring, but also could be, that to achieve something for a greater good, maybe you need to face a bit of collateral damage in there. Uh, more leaning more towards the masculine traits. So, what would be your opinion on this?
Um, I don't know if I agree with that statement, to be very honest with you. I don't know if I agree that with the um assumption that a certain decision will carry, let's say, goodness to it, but it will also carry a collateral damage to it. It's just, I find that to be, let's say, limited in um, its very structure. I think there are ways to make decisions, to build organizations, to lead countries, to lead people, to bring teams together that can be non-hurtful. They can be non-harming. What creates that concept of collateral damage is really that sort of zero sum system which we already operate in. And in that sense, I agree because we operate in a business or political or environment where everything is in a way negative sum. So that carries with itself in the model. It's part of the model that there is collateral damage. But what I advocate for is really to start operating from a different place. A place that is more kind of geared towards a positive sum world, a world if I win, you win. And if I earn more, you earn even more. And a place where we can grow and propagate that growth within each other and together grow it even more. Um, and in that sort of concept, I guess collateral damage is not necessarily a factor.
Yeah, that really really makes sense. Really makes sense to Natalie. Okay, now in your journey, what I really love, admire is the reinvention part. Because let's face the reality, change is constant. We we fear change. However, it's inevitable. We have to deal with it, we have to face with it. So I mean, your journey from CEO then to creative entrepreneur, and I absolutely believe that embracing vulnerability can be challenging. However, it can be empowering during transitions. Yes, I fear I may sometimes, uh, lose or give up to the situations, but then I will get up and face those challenges as well. And that particular journey kind of, it empowers you from the inside out. So what specific qualities, feminine qualities, did you lean into, Natalini, in during this profound identity shift?
Um, that's a beautiful question. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being sort of for honoring my journey and for having that capacity to appreciate it. It means a lot to me, and it says a lot about you. I think because um, once we're open and ready and willing to embrace change and to you know completely fall apart in order to be reborn again, is when we are truly alive. Um, my you ask your question, and the first thing that came to my mind is the feminine quality that really helped me navigate that very very difficult process of uh profound transformation is really my ability to feel pain. My ability to and and that's I think it's a feminine trait when it comes to emotional pain. Um, maybe, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's a feminine or a masculine. I don't want to also make that sort of separation. But in my case in particular, what really um, helped me so much uh, and guided me in a way with a lot of integrity through the process of transformation was my willingness and ability to take on all the pain that was stored within myself and feel it all and be with it and not run away from it, not try to numb it, not try to sedate it, not try to distract myself, but deal with it. And every time the pain would come up, to go towards it, not away from it. And that really uh, turned out to be actually the most significant part of the journey, because once we agree to feel the pain is when the pain kind of loses its grip over us. It's where we sort of, this term is very modern now, we alchemize the pain, but it's true because it does get transformed. The pain just needs to be felt. It doesn't want to stay in our bodies. It doesn't want to stay in our minds. It does want to leave us, but for it to leave, we need to feel it. And so the thing is, like, it can be quite overwhelming and it can be quite scary and it can be quite a lot. I mean, I definitely explored and kind of dove into the depths of my pain. But what's really fascinating is what you find on the other side of that. Because on the other side of that, you find absolutely the most beautiful sense of freedom, the most beautiful sense of joy. In my case, it was this beautiful creative expansion where I got in touch with all the things that make me happy, all the things that I like and want, and I'm gifted to give to this world, the talents and gifts that I carry that are by design part of my my package, so to speak. And that that makes all the pain worth the while, really.
Wow. I'm so much connect with that. So much connect with that because I don't know for anyone else how it is, but um, sometimes there have been times where I have completely been judgmental of myself of taking bad decisions and then kind of suffering because of those decisions. But then I kind of console myself thinking that, okay, you got into that trouble, um, n- you have gone through that immense pain. However, just pat pat yourself on your back that you got out of that pain and now you are in a good place. You are thriving. So that itself personally is a huge achievement for me. That I've felt that pain, I've gone through it, and I have become stronger. So I completely resonate.
Well, hopefully you will have become softer as well, because
Exactly. Yes.
strength is beautiful, but I feel like softness is a side of strength that we often overlook, and there's so much power in being soft.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I couldn't agree more with you. And uh, Natalie, you have mentioned that healing childhood trauma and breaking intergenerational cycles, they are the key aspects of your journey. And I deeply believe that leaders who address their past, they create healthier futures. So how has this deep inner work impacted your approach to leadership and decision making?
Um, I feel like when we haven't, or at least my experience, when I didn't know my story or my trauma, and the origin and the root of my pain, when I was trying to run away from it, and uh, you know, disconnect from it, it was operating, you know, it was telling me what to do. It was driving the car, so to speak. So uh, if my pain was telling me, or my trauma was telling me, you're not good enough, now everything that I went out there in the world and did was to prove myself that I am good enough. And of course, I will never be good enough, because it's not in the outside world where I will find that validation. It's only within me. But then you're out there trying to prove something to someone, and it will never really work. And then that sort of quality can infect, it can intoxicate every decision, every aspect of your leadership, and every aspect of the way you're building and leading organizations. Because now your personal sort of conditioning gets mixed up with the needs and the goals and the values of the organization you're creating. So what I observed now that I have settled quite a lot of internal, let's say, fires, now that I put the fires off, and I feel good with myself, and I'm giving myself the validation, the love, the care, the appreciation that I would historically look for in the outside world. I now can create from a place of, okay, I have this beautiful idea. I received this beautiful idea, and I really need to give it to the world, but I don't need to take anything from it. It doesn't need to mean anything about me. It doesn't need to make me be something. I just need to give it, because that's my role in the creative process. An idea chooses me as its vessel, as its parent, it's its guardian, and I'm here to just give it for everyone to enjoy, without it needing to mean something about me, without it needing to make me be someone, or or make me believe that I am something that I need to believe that I am. And so it makes the whole process a lot more grounded, a lot more um, authentic. It brings a lot more integrity to the process, and it really takes out the sort of personal conditioning and trauma and drama out of the creative process.
So before we wrap up, Natalini, if our listeners they would like to connect with you and explore more about understanding the leadership or the life from the femininity aspect, what's the best way to do that? How they can reach out to you?
So everyone can find me on Instagram. My handle is just Natalini. You can also follow me on LinkedIn under Natalini Joy. I'm also launching a new project, which I'm very excited about. It's a series of talks and conversations where I bring some of the most incredible people, leaders, and visionaries of our time to talk about freedom and explore all the ways in which we can experience freedom. And I would love to invite your audience to join me for this. You can find us on Instagram under My Freedom Beach, and on LinkedIn under Freedom Beach. So please join us, and I'm happy to connect with all of you.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'll make sure to have all the links mentioned in the show notes. And thank you so much, Natalini, first of all, for sharing your empowering journey with us. And I'm so sure that our listeners they're so inspired from your courage to lead authentically and also embrace femininity as strength. It's truly inspiring. So thank you so much once again.
It's my pleasure, my dear, and thank you so much for hosting these beautiful conversations. They're very meaningful. and they make an impact. And I wish you all the best going forward.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind words, Natalini. And to all of the BizBlend listeners out there, what I understand and what I would like to share with all of you is leadership, it's not a fixed destination, but it's definitely an evolving journey back to ourselves. And I think this not only applies to leadership, but in any kind of journey that we are embarked upon or we are thinking to embark upon. So, until next time, keep blending business with authenticity. And this is your host, Sana, signing off from BizBlend. Thank you and take care.